When I learned about the possible reboot of HBO's sexy vampire show, True Blood, I rolled my eyes. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I think True Blood was a classic or something. At its best, it was campy, sexy trash that got blood and semen all over Twilight's glittering memory. But at its worst, its over-the-top bombastic storylines made me regret ever watching Sex and the City and giving HBO the misplaced confidence that it can and should make shows about sex. I get that Hollywood reboots everything, and don't get me wrong, sometimes it works. I love me some Star Trek Discovery, but True Blood was its own worst enemy. Not only did the show slowly sink under its own weight, it was clear that the writers and producers had no idea what made the story work. We wanted more Bill and Sookie, or Eric and Sookie, or heck with it, just have the show be about a three-way with all of them. But I also think that this reboot is cashing in on nostalgia, and that's why it won't work. The show was at its best when there were fangs and bodily fluid everywhere. And can anyone replicate the chemistry that this show had? Sookie and Bill smoldered on screen, because the actors in real life became romantically involved while shooting the show. The sparks between Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer are real. And it wasn't just them. Eric and Pam were amazing. Dark, sassy, sexy as hell. And Lafayette was fire. Moment of silence for Nelson Ellis. But in the end, True Blood just couldn't sustain itself. Too many characters. We wanted suspense and sex. Not a lame love interest named Egg. Or a subplot about vampire Nazis. Or the necromancer witches from season 4. Or that time Detective Belfleur knocked up a fairy who gave birth to like 4 daughters at once, because that's just what the show needed. More characters in Game of Thrones. But no one cared about all these extra people. None of these characters were going to be Vampire King of Mississippi, or would ever be as hot as Eric. Byleth was fun, but the show lost its magic, getting bogged down in werewolf pack infighting and vampire politics. Too much exposition and backstory, not enough sex and mystery. The show got too tangled, and ended up just being men simping for Sookie. Times have changed. Snoop Dogg's an old man who complains about Cardi B's WAP. Because men singing about women's bodies is okay, but when women sing about their own bodies, that's just wrong. Leave the past in the past. Don't try to replicate the spark the first few seasons of True Blood had. And honestly, this theme of using queer sexuality as a parallel for vampires is getting a little old. Between the 1983 film The Hunger, which starred a love triangle and had several lovely sapphic scenes, to Anne Rice's interview with the vampire, sly winks at queer coding, to True Blood blatantly having vampires struggle for civil rights as stand-in for gays, I'm over the metaphor. God hates fangs? Wow, how edgy. I mean, if you're going to do yet another show using queer people as some kind of metaphor, actually, can you just skip the damn metaphor and just have a show about queer people and or discrimination instead? Throw in some sex and supernatural to keep it interesting. Because a show about ethical polyamory, open relationships, and sexy magical lesbians, NBs, gays, drag kings, and queens would be something I would watch the fuck out of. Because with both HIV and AIDS, I'm really done comparing queers and vampires. LGBT people aren't predators or demons. And if you're going to pick a metaphor for gay people, maybe pick one that doesn't involve transmitting something deadly by physical contact. A friend, Jeff Bailey-Canon, also told me about the BBC 3 show Being Human, where the running joke is that people thought a character's secret was that he was gay, but he was actually a vampire. I haven't watched it, but then I also didn't watch the last season of True Blood, because vampire fairies. And honestly, I'm with Pam on this one. There have got to be better stories about the supernatural and queers than a rehash of a show that wasn't that great in the first place. Okay, to be honest, I haven't watched that show. But then again, I didn't watch the last season of True Blood because vampire fairies. You know what? I agree with Pam on this one.
Sookie, I'm so over Sookie and her precious fairy vagina and her unbelievably stupid name. Fuck Sookie!
There've got to be better stories to tell about queers and the supernatural than a rehash of a show that honestly wasn't that great in the first place. So thanks for watching. Again, special thanks to Jeff Bailey-Canon for his thoughts about vampires, queers, and metaphors. And oops, there's my kitty. Come on, sweetie, come on. There we go. And just one other thing, this will be my last video that I shoot on this laptop. Part of the reason why I haven't uploaded in a while is that I've been having some laptop issues, but I bought a new computer for myself for the holidays, and in a few weeks I will have some new videos for you all. I'm planning on doing some stuff about election issues in Michigan, as well as exploring some different themes about consent and queerness in Star Trek. So, hope you all have a great holiday. Thanks for watching, and maybe leave me some pretty analytics to look at. Leave a comment or something.